Yo, what's going on, guys? What's up? What's up? Back at it with my man Wes. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, Rob? Thanks for having me again.
Hey, all the time, brother. All the time. Any time. I'll do it every week.
Love it, man. I'm down.
uh, so how you been, man? What's going on with XCN there? I was telling you when we were off camera there, we were talking about it, and there was a little bit of a kerfuffle. So what was going on with the conversation that you were having in the Telegram the other day that caused one of the community members to overreact?
Sure. So, I mean, right now with Onyx, we have pretty busy schedule of a few things in the oven, so to speak. We have the launching of Onyx Core, and the reimbursements, the adding the 200 million XCN as liquidity to base the base chain to add liquidity on that market, and we have the ambassador program. So, the conversation I had was, they had announced their budgetary allocations for the ambassadors and the community initiative, and then they announced the money for the gas refund, and they announced the money for the added liquidity. So my issue, that I had was, in my opinion, um, the marketing is Onyx's number one. This is my opinion as a community member, as everyone's a community member. Um, in my opinion, of most importance right now and the top priority. So my concern was, why are we allocating, uh, you know, $100,000 in funds to gas refunds, and $4,000 to community initiatives, and marketing initiatives, and 200 million, which is roughly $300,000, to adding liquidity on that base chain. I said, adding all that liquidity doesn't really do much if nobody knows who it is. It isn't going to use it anyway. So, I had shared my opinion, and that was just of my own. We had this discussion both ways. You know, there was a two-way conversation on it from myself and Onyx Dow and the guys there, and some stuff was explained to me as to why that is, and said that you could feel free to vote. So I had to also say, like, I'm always told, oh, if you don't like it, go and vote such and such. And I was like, it's not that easy, because to do a proposal, you have to have 100 million XCN. And I was like, right now that's $125,000. It's not that easy for most people. So I shared that really, you have a few big holders, and because they hold so much, they're able to do proposals, and their votes really carry a lot of weight. And I think that's where you are saying that one of your members was worried and all that stuff, and I want to echo the sentiment that I completely understand why that is. First off, I mean, a person has the right to own whatever they want to own. You can buy as much of it as you can, as you want, as you need, whatever. That's your right. And the 100 million proposal is there to secure that platform. If it only took $2,000 worth of XCN to create a proposal, in theory, you can have a coordinated effort to really come in, do a proposal, and have it passed by a bunch of people or bots buying a smaller amount. This larger amount really makes sure that the course of the protocol isn't being steered by anybody maliciously, or um, that it's actually being ran through proposals by big holders who have a vested interest in it doing well. So I
They can
understand that.
they can create proposals that are detrimental to the protocol. Right?
100%. So by having a very large holder, you know, be the one to create these proposals, it keeps the protocol safe. So, and I just want to share that, I'm one member of a community. Everyone in there is in the community. We will have agreements, we will have disagreements and things. Um, there are times where it'll appear that I'm being annoyed, but no one understands that. Sometimes I am messaged directly by these people afterwards. Sometimes it will appear that nothing is going to happen, or or concerns aren't heard. But then 3 days later, updates come, which you're like, oh shit, that they do listen. Like, something had happened, um, to show you that what you were talking about, what your worries were actually heard and validated. So I've had those experiences many times, which brings a lot of peace to me. And I believe we know who that person was, and they had reached out to me. I said, listen, if I'm not worried, you don't be worried. It's all good. This isn't the first time. This is how things are done there when you're making decisions as a group. And it's not always, yeah, I agree with you. High five. Sometimes it's like, hey, you know, I'm apples and you're oranges right now. And what are we gonna do? And if the community overall is apples and I'm orange, that's just part of what comes with it. But the we have a lot going on right now, and the fact that any of it's going on is always great. It shows that there's active development. They want to add liquidity to the DEX for operational expenses into other exchanges. They want to do the ambassador program, the community program to reward active community members in the main Telegram chat. To give rewards on a monthly basis to the 8 ambassadors that they're selecting. The gas refund program to get people staking, voting, and integrating with the protocol. So there's a lot of great things, and they're bringing back Onyx Core. So there's a lot going on. So no reason to ever be bearish or to have fear, uncertainty, or doubt in regard to the project right now.
I was actually just looking at I'm actually looking at a CoinMarketCap right now. I didn't realize, or maybe I'm just sick and didn't remember, but we actually have a lot of good exchange listings here.
Very much so.
That tells me that if they can start to gain some momentum via marketing or whatever the case might be, there's a lot of liquidity that can pour into this project based on that.
You see, people tend to not realize that, these exchanges that we're on is actually an inherited gift, per se, of being formerly Chain. Chain, when it was active, was a huge project back in 2017 area, 2016, huge project. Had great minds behind it. And we were on a lot of top tier exchanges. When we converted over to the ticker XCN from Chain ticker, that was still owned by Chain at that time, so we were XCN on those exchanges. Once Chain had changed hands and was sold off, we still have those exchange listings, so we have a huge advantage in that regard.
Yeah, no kidding. Like I said, we get a little bit of momentum here, and absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Given our labels as well, our tags, DeFi always does amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, right? I'd actually made a comment on who was it? I think it was Crypto Mason. I don't know if you know him over on X. He covers a lot of XRP and stuff like that. But he had mentioned in a post on X, he's like, he said something to the effect of looking for a great DeFi play with good APR, and I was like, dude, you need to go check out the Onyx protocol, dude. If that's what you're looking for right now, right? Like,
nope, 100%. Yeah, I went on Google when I was Googling, top APRs for, staking and everything. And I think I shared this once before, but Onyx wasn't listed. So I took it upon myself to message, the Google and say, hey, XCN has a current rate of blah, 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 whatever it was at the time. Just doing your part like you did with that person, steering them to Onyx. I'm trying to do my part. And it's how the world goes around.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I get people asking me about. I did that video, and maybe I came off different than I meant to. And I was like, when I was talking about the ambassador program, and I was like, I don't even know if honestly if I would have the time to be able to do it. So I wasn't like, man, I want to be an ambassador, right? I mean, I tend to lean towards not wanting to be one simply because it helps me be more non-biased when I'm running the channel, right? If I become an ambassador, then I start getting accusations and, well, you're only talking about it because this, that, and the other thing, right? So that's the same. Yeah, it's the same reason I don't take sponsorships from projects. I get like 5 emails a day from projects saying, "Hey, we're going to give you X amount of our token if you talk about our meme coin." And no thanks, right? So, but in that though, I guess I was just feeling a little bit like, dude, I'm like literally, as far as I know, the biggest uh, coverer of Onyx coin on YouTube. I don't know of any other channel that covers it anywhere near as much. Like I said before, I see like there might be 2 or 3 other channels that maybe once every 3 or 4 days they'll do like a 2-minute TA video on it or something.
Right.
But other than that, they don't talk about any of the developments. They don't talk about what the team's doing, what the project's doing, like literally nothing, right? And I was just like, how about a fucking nod, I suppose? You know what I mean, from the team or something, you know? Like, I guess
Yeah,
that's just what
they're not nodders, man. But I did share there today. Someone was like, "What channel is it on?" And they're like, I told them your channel and Telegram, and I said, "Yeah, he's pretty much the only guy that actually does deep dives into the project. It's not quick TA, like it's covering proposals, covering the white papers, having talks about currently what's going on, and the climate of the project and the news ahead, and you. So as far as in my experience, having combed YouTube quite a bit for Onyx related stuff, you are the only one that I know of that does these types of deep dives.
yeah.
But as you know, the ambassador program is they won't pursue anybody. They won't really acknowledge anything openly. It was strictly by application only.
Yeah.
So
See, for me, I know that that's going to change though, because again, once it happened with Jasmy, it'll happen with Onyx coin. Once I remember when Jasmy was like bouncing between 205 and 207 for what felt like forever, right?
mhm, mhm.
And I was the only one talking about it for the most part. You had a couple other guys that would talk about it for clicks or whatever, but didn't really know much about it. And then Jasmy went up back in February like 500% or something like that, right? And all of a sudden it was on everybody's radar,
Yep.
right? Even BitBoy was mentioning it, like everyone was chasing that clout, trying to get in on the clicks. And like I was literally doing Jasmy live streams, and there'd be like 3 people in the live stream because no one wanted to hear about Jasmy at that time, right? So
Yep.
it's like, I'm telling you guys, right? And the same thing with Onyx coin will happen, right? As soon as we get that jump, that 500% pump or something like that, that we are due, it's going to be the same thing. Like you're going to get all these bigger content creators like, check out this gem I found, and like no one knows about it yet, and here we
Right.
are talking about it. So
That's
it
the
will
beauty of
get
it.
that. Yeah, it will get that coverage. It will get that acknowledgement. It's not a matter of if, but when, in my opinion, right?
Yep.
You can't help it when a project pumps 500% or something. It pops on other people's radars.
Right.
So, so
Yeah, they will be. I'm sure they will be announcing soon the ambassadors. I, I'm under the impression that it's moving along pretty good in that regard, and then the gas fees. I would guess somewhere around the beginning of November, everything should be revealing itself.
So, what do you think about the reimbursement of the gas fees every month and stuff like that?
Well, I
Would you
mean,
rather would you rather that money be allocated to marketing or something like that, or what do you think?
no. So the $100,000 mark for that, I feel is a good amount. I just I would have personally shared that I would have liked a little bit more allocated to marketing. But it was expressed to me, which no one talks about, that this was just a pilot, and that there will be adjustments made, to that based on the early results that are given. So it's not locked in. I just I'm sharing openly my desire for that to be the case, because as a person with my background and whatnot, and I'm a business owner, and I built a business up that's rather successful in my opinion. Um, I feel like that's the biggest thing. It doesn't matter how many places you are. If nobody knows you exist, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
But I trust that being around long enough in this chat, in this project, that stuff doesn't go unheard. I mean, even if it's not acknowledged the way I want it to be acknowledged in a public forum, it's noted. So I'm still around. So if I'm still around and I'm still hopeful, then obviously, you know, and I'm still communicating the same way, then I know that things happen to reflect those desires of the community, not just my own.
Yeah, I started making videos for my X account. I've never had it for a couple of years now, but hang on. Sorry, I had to mute it to cough there. Um, and I started doing videos for XCN on there too. Um, I've never really built up my X page. I don't know why, but you know, ever since Elon took over, I was like, you know what, maybe I should start putting some work into building it. But so I started doing that too, just to try to get like I'm really hoping that I can contribute to opening eyes to the project, right? And then people can kind of make their own decisions based off of that. You know, like
Sure.
um, too many people though they see me say something and then they're like, well, Rob's bullish on this, so I'm going to go buy it. And I try to discourage them. I'm like, guys, no, I'm providing you with information on the project for you to take it, for you to go research it, and you might come to a different conclusion than I come to, right?
Yeah.
Whether good or bad, right? But
Yeah. And there's got to be
I
accountability for that. You know, whatever you do, you need to be accountable. You need to stand tall on whatever decisions you do and make sense for you. And you know, I've had to share this with several people in the Telegram. They're like, "Oh my God, price going down. When are you guys going to do something?" It's like, well, you can't do anything. It's a free open market, and you yourself thought when you bought that was the right time to buy it. So I
yeah,
mean, you know, you be accountable to that. You know, no one's going to make it pump because you're upset that you're down. It's like, do you understand how this works? But the gas fees, you know, I think the amount that they allocated towards it, I feel is perfect because sometimes depending on, you know, the ETH gas fees can be crazy. There's times that on midday, you know, during a work week that I see that it's $22, $24 to vote. And, you know, you have all different people that are invested with much, you know, very different budgets. Some people may only be buying $25 worth of Onyx at a time, you know, depending on where you live, your personal financial situation. So to go out and vote and spend another 25 just for a vote, um, by refunding the gas fees, you're going to get people that probably would have talked themselves out, you know, probably would have voted, but have been able to talk themselves out of it because they can't afford the gas fees. So it's going to get a lot more people engaged in the protocol. By being engaged, they're going to have a better understanding of how it works and, you know, be a part of something bigger than yourself in the decision making process of where this project's heading.
well, and that's something that's going to take some work. Like that's what I'm trying to get across too. As of I think yesterday, is trying to open people's eyes to the fact that they can now participate in the DAO in the in the proposals and stuff for
Mhm.
free, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get reimbursed for participating. So like let's make our voices heard here, guys, and let's get this going, right?
Yep.
Um,
And it's
I'm
great for
looking over.
people that are compounding too. If you're into compounding or staking, you know, I have to wait a certain amount of time to compound to make sure that the amount of money I'm spending in gas is rather minuscule in proportion to the amount that I'm compounding staking. You know, I'm not going to spend $24 in gas fees to compound $35 in stake rewards. It's not just going to happen. So by having it rebatable to you, doesn't matter. Just do it whenever you want, as often as you want, and compound that way. So it should bring a lot more staked to the protocol and boost up our total value locked and our total value staked.
Yeah, I'm looking at something I've kind of been playing with is looking at the comparables between Onyx Coin and Aave. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think about that comparison?
Well, I mean, Aave is a massive, massive project, as you know. You know,
But
billions
that's because
locked.
they've been around. That's because they've been around for a long time, though.
Yep, been around for a long time with billions locked. You know, the some of the the differences though are the assets that you can trade on there. You know, with actually lending and supplying crypto, and you know when it comes to RWAs and NFTs, you know, I believe that we differ from Aave in a few different regards there. I won't go into specifics. I'm not informed enough about Aave to speak on it with certainty, but I do know there are certain advantages um, over Aave in that regard. Also, you know, with Onyx Core coming back, and that software that's been developed some years ago coming back into the forefront of our project. Um, I feel that's going to do great things for giving us once again another advantage. Um, and Aave is a lot more formed. Onyx still has a lot more direction that it could take one way or the other to make itself stand out. It could afford to take a step back, look at Aave that's already matured, for lack of better words, within the market, and say, huh, well, we like this about Aave. Let's implement this, but Aave doesn't really do this, so let's add this. We can kind of fine tune these
Yeah.
things, being in the building stage, to really have an advantage over other DeFi projects that are kind of found their form in the sand already.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I agree. That's kind of what I was looking at, was just like the potential of something like Onyx Coin in comparison or side by side with an Aave, for example. Because we're so early, we can do exactly what you said. We can look at what worked for Aave and maybe trying to go in that direction, and we can look at what didn't work for Aave or what we can do better than Aave, right?
Yep.
I'm looking at a $2.2 billion TVL.
Yeah, it's a
As
big boy.
Yeah, that was as of May, so who knows what it's at now.
Yeah.
But I mean, the market cap of Aave right now, I mean, yeah, it's, holy crap, it's almost 2.3 billion, right?
Yep.
So imagine, if you would, a project like Onyx Coin, making it to that market cap, you know.
Well, a couple things that I'm excited about with Onyx is that I'm not sure if you saw it in the news, but I'm not 100% certain on what this platform is, but we're now listed on Revolt, which I'm guessing is a very big bank servicers list. So that's great for institutional exposure, and the fact that we are bringing back Onyx Core, from my understanding from reading through it, um, is that instead of having a peer-to-peer lending program that's based on ETH, the software Onyx Core is able to help you build, your own networks for your specific cause, either individually or as a group. And then you can list your individual assets. When you have something like that, now you're taking a much broader appeal to also institutions. I couldn't imagine nice generous offer there. um,
Right. Go
so
ahead.
I saw, I believe that with this core coming back, that we're going to have more appeal to institutional people or groups, um, that would use this protocol, which is huge because the money is in the institutions. Peer-to-peer lending could be a very vast market as well, but the institutional money that comes in dwarfs anything. We all know that.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about the Onyx Core, if you go to our main page at onyx.org and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, they've actually added, under developers section at the very bottom, Onyx Core, and you can click that and you can read the description, and it makes much more sense to me reading the description that way.
Yeah.
And you kind of see that this is a big deal. It's a big deal. I know it's older software that was developed at least in 2017 by Chain, and the team and the developers behind that were no small puppies. They were, you got solid research, you got solid um, fundamentals behind that. So, and it's tried and true and battle tested. Um, I looked into any type of feedback on that particular, on Onyx Core, or formerly Chain Core, and I don't see anything with, um, any vulnerabilities or poor feedback or anything like that. It seems like a really, really solid software that I'm excited to see reintegrated back into our project.
I think another thing that people that are new this cycle to crypto also don't really have a perspective on is how popular and utilized DeFi staking was in the last bull run.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It
Yeah,
was
there's a lot
massive.
of people that came in during the bear market, and your impression of what it is and how it is and what will it be. You got to have time in this. You got to have time and experience, and when this does run, when the overall market does run again, man, I hope that you've had the same experience in it that I had years ago, seeing things go to areas that if you told me they were going to go to that area, I would have laughed at you and said, you're out of your mind. Only to find out some years later that not only did it do that, it exceeded it. So you have a crazy amount of potential that you just need to sit on your hands sometimes. If you don't have money to buy, if you don't know what's going to happen, just sit on your hands, walk away, go touch some grass, and just let time take time. And
that time's going to pass no matter what you do, right?
Exactly. That's life, right? I mean, and the more you try to stop creating an outcome and you just accept things, the better the experience is for you, so we're a baby still, 37 million or whatever it is right now, market cap. People, have openly, shown disdain for me making comments of like conservative, potential for 20 to 30x conservatively in there. And I'm just like, man, you don't know what things could do. I'm not saying it's going to do that, but to sit here and act like that's not possible, you just showed your cards to me that you really haven't been around that long.
Well, that's just it, right? And there's another factor that there's another YouTuber, AJ Writes Crypto. I don't know if you know him or not. He hangs out with BitBoy and stuff like that.
Okay.
And he was, for a while ago, he was doing altcoin prediction price prediction videos. And I watched a handful of them, and I started chatting with him. And I said, dude, I was like, I understand what you're trying to do, but pretty much every altcoin that he did a video on was massively underperforming in his prediction what they did in the last bull run. So not even close to its previous all-time high, let alone going into price discovery mode, right?
Sure.
And I was like, you're kind of acting like somebody who's never been in a bull run before or an altcoin season. Like, the majority of altcoins go into price discovery mode. That's the point, right? And I said there are some that don't, but the ones that don't are generally, and I was talking with someone on the Patreon about this about an hour and a half ago, generally those projects are ones that completely watered down their circulating supply in the bear market, right? Like Sandbox did that this time around. I think they dumped like 30 or 40% or something like that throughout the course of this bear market into circulation. Yeah, that's going to make it a lot harder to get to like $9 or whatever it was before, but I mean, from my knowledge anyway, Onyx coin didn't do anything like that in this bear market. They didn't dump 40-50% of the supply, so getting back to,
you want to look at the disparity between the market cap and the fully diluted market cap. With Onyx, you're looking at 37 million versus like 62 million. It's a very small amount. So even if every uncirculated token went into circulation today, it's still only 60 million.
Yeah.
So I also always, one of my prerequisites, Rob, and this is just for my trading style, is going into a bull market, I usually like to hold coins that have never been through a bull market before, coins that are brand new that have never been through a bull cycle, and particularly low caps. I do have a higher risk tolerance than what I would consider most people, and I tend to be that way. I go big with whatever I do, or I kind of don't want to do it at all. But I 100% agree with you there.
Yeah, it's those are the tokens that do that, and that's what we talk about over on the Patreon all the time. We talk about Onyx coin, KASPA, SEI, SUI, Pith, Ondo. Like, this is their first turbo. This is their first bull run, and those are the ones that are really going to perform very well. I compare, and I know a lot of people are right now, so it's not like breaking news, but I compare projects like SUI, Pith, and Ondo to Solana in the last bull run, and Solana in this bull run, Solana was, I talked about it in the live stream. Jim Cramer was talking when Bitcoin was $15,000. This was about a year and a half ago, right? We're down around $15,000 for Bitcoin.
Yeah, Solana was around $8, man, $7. I think it went to
$4.32 at that time.
Jesus.
And it's 100 and what is it right now? 100 and
it's got to be around 140, 150 mark, right? Maybe high 130s.
So when people
range,
so when people say, well, that project can't do that, how many of those people, like, in fact, at the time, I remember a lot of people were saying Solana's dead.
Right. Yeah. There was a lot of talk about that. Will it recover? It had gone down past some key fib levels that people were like, this is like the last stop for Solana. If it doesn't hold this, then it could die out. And
so I asked,
hindsight with crypto, man, can make you sick.
Yeah. So I asked, going back to my conversation with AJ, I asked him, I said, what is the total market cap of the crypto, like the entire asset class that you're projecting when you're spewing out these numbers? Because for me, when someone says that any given project can't ever go to X dollars, right? It's impossible. And when they say that to my first thought is, okay, well, I mean, what you're telling me is that you have no faith in the entire asset class because we're still so young. The peak market cap for the entire asset class was little over 3 billion, like a hair over 3 billion last time. So what you're telling me is that you don't think that the entire market cap for the asset class is going to significantly increase over the course of this bull run, the next bull run, over a course of time, for one. Or you're telling me that you don't think it, like, how is it not realistic that if we go to a 25, I mean, it's not gonna happen this time, but over the course of 2 or 3 cycles, let's say we have a $25 trillion market cap for the entire asset class, why can't a project like Onyx coin get a, I don't know, a 300, 400, 500 billion dollar market cap in the long term?
Yeah, it can if it really gains traction, really gains the public's eye and stands out 100%. I mean, Solana's settled at around 60 billion right now. I mean, consolidated. So I mean, there's major money to be earned in that. And also, I want to share too that Rob, there's several people that I have ran across, credible people that credible. When I say is, I believe that there's real thought and um, working thought process behind their TA that forecast the XCN as a 100x idea,
Yeah.
potential for 100x. There's several people. Some of these people, one of which is my personal mentor, and I mean he's a very non-biased person. He's a probability expert, and he bases his trades fully on probability and um, there's many other things that factor into that, but generally he worked for like an airline, and his job was to calculate the probability of engine failures on planes, um, for passenger and commercial airliners. So he's a very big data nerd, and he says that the chart screams at him as a 100x idea.
Yeah.
It's down 99%. From the all-time high. It's got a small market cap. It's already kind of formed its bottom. Um, and if it went up 100x, what is that? 37 million times 10 would be 370 million, 3.7 billion.
Yeah.
So 3.7 billion to get your 100x would be roughly 1/15 the size of Solana's market cap now. 1/15 of what
Yeah.
Solana's cap is right now would get you 100x on XCN. So, will every small cap do that? No, it's not realistic. But when you look at charts that have already been beaten down so much, that have been, through declines that came out in the tail end of the last bull cycle, have never been through a bull market before, and have just had a lifelong downtrend that are showing signs of hitting a bottom, I put my bet and I put my money there.
Yeah.
And that's what got me into Onyx. Before, I knew anything about the project, I looked at the chart, you
Yeah.
know.
It's funny. We have a very similar story when it comes to that. Yeah, it's you chart all that stuff out. You look at the potential. You look at the utility. You look at you look at everything you can, and it exactly screams to me the exact same thing. Like, we've got a potential, 80 to 100x on our hands here.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to say beyond that. I mean, the continued growth of the community. We see more and more wallets, and that's only going to increase as, again, we get a good price spike due to a breakout. I mean, look at the chart, for crying out loud, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we had that double top, and we fell right back into this falling, this descending channel, right?
Yep.
And look at that! Look at that perfect support there too. So it's like it's only a matter of time before we get that break, and when we finally do, again, other YouTubers are going to start talking about it, which is going to bring more wallets into, more liquidity. So if we can get a Binance listing or something like that,
That
who
would be
knows where?
great.
Yeah.
That would be great. And that's, I'm sure that's something that, ambassadors can potentially push for, see if it's feasible. I don't know Binance's requirements. for
Well,
their listings. Yeah, you'd have to look
Binance
more.
Binance actually released a program. A couple of the exchanges did. They released a program in the spring, I want to say, where people could actually apply to have their project listed on Binance, and then the team would look at the project. So it is something that the ambassadors could do. Is fill
Sure.
that, go through that process, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I do believe that, it's not financial advice, it's just my own opinion, but I do believe that we're on the preface of a big move. I believe that a big move is coming very, very soon. Either you're going to have an opportunity to buy some real cheap for a very small amount of time if there's a liquidity grab by a quick dump before a huge pump, or we just go right for the pump. But I do believe that this wedge is gonna break this channel, and it's going to be a big move.
Well, exactly. And I've been talking about Bitcoin. I think a lot obviously depends on what Bitcoin does, right? In the coming days. So right now, I'm going to bring it up on the screen actually, because we're 12 minutes away from the weekly close.
Yep.
Uh, see, we need to get. I don't think it's going to happen, but for me, we need to. This is the daily. We need to get up over the 200-day SMA here at what are we at? 63,385. If we can get up there and close above it, I mean that would be very bullish. And I got to be honest, I don't think we're going to.
Right.
And if we don't, I do think that we are going to. I got my. You see my little box right here. You know exactly where I think we're going, right?
Yep.
I could see us sweeping these lows again, down between 57 and 58K.
Yeah.
And I would be ready for that. I mean,
And that's what's crazy about it. I spent so many years trying to figure out which direction is it going to go, which direction is it going to go, and looking for confluence in the charts and everything, and thinking I know what's going to do based on the candle structures, and then it does that quick as a fake out in left, right, center. And I just decided, the great thing about DeFi projects, especially XCN, is I can just avoid it all and just trade it and make money regardless. And increase my position regardless. And then, once it does break out upward and they manipulate the market to the upside, just like they do to the downside, once the manipulation falls in our favor, you get your money.
Exactly. Well, we need to climb this is the weekly. We need to climb about $900. Yeah, about $900 in the next 10 minutes. Well, about $1,000 to close over top of it. But I mean, I will take this candle though.
You have a long wick on the bottom side. You do have some buy pressure. So
yeah, I was gonna say I like this candle. Look how low down we came this week. This was this week 59,000 even almost, all the way back up. So that got bought right up.
Yeah, that looks like a doji there. That's a very thin candle body. I don't know if they would refer to it as a dragonfly. I'd have to reacquaint myself with it, but the candle body with the long wick to the downside at least is showing that any downside pressure is getting quickly bought up.
Yeah,
but, we've been range around for 200 days, which I know during the last bull run we were in a range for right around the 200-day mark. And then you get a shift of momentum either in either direction. We don't know I don't know what's going to happen personally, but as far as as long as we're between 72 and 49, in my opinion, we're just floating in a range. So I'm not overly concerned.
well, and that's what I've been trying to tell people too, is that like we could get a crash all the way down to 49K, and as long as we stayed above there in terms of closes,
Yep,
we would still be fine. We'd still be in our upward trajectory, right?
Yep.
But people would make it sound like it's the end of the world. Like it's oh my God, it's over. The bull run's over, right?
Beginning of the year, Rob, that we were in the upper 40s and people were like, oh my God, it's going to the moon. So 49 was great for you at the beginning of the year. Now it's the end is near. It's crazy. The built-in forgetters and how quick we want things to go our way all the time in crypto.
Recency bias, man, it'll crush you, right?
100%. Yeah. But yeah, good things are on the forefront for Onyx. There's 3 3 proposals in queue or active voting, all in the oven. They're all getting, addressed. We got some great things on the horizon, and I believe that it's onward and upward for Onyx.
Well,
So,
I hope that whomever the is 8 ambassadors, right?
yes, there'll be 8.
I hope whomever they are, I really hope that they are as active as humanly possible, like the JASMY ambassadors. I don't know if you know much about them, but
I don't.
um, I have 4 that come on the channel
Okay.
and periodically, and the work I see them do over on X, constantly, digging up information and putting it out there on X, and just making sure the research is beyond belief, right? And I'm hoping that we get the same level of exposure or similar with the ambassadors. Um, and what I mean by that is not so much like the deep dive research and stuff, but more just the continuous posts and the activity, right? Keeping the engagement up is more what I'm referring to, right?
Yep.
Kind of like I do, right? Like I talk, oh, look, there's a new proposal. Boom, got to do a video on it. We got to talk about it, right? Everyone needs to know, kind of thing, right? So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see. But I have no idea. I'm like a ninja in the Telegram, right? I'm in there, but I don't very rarely say anything, right?
Yeah, no, there's a few of you like that in there. We know you're there watching.
Yeah, because
But they've
yeah,
done this before. This program, it's bringing back the ambassadors. So there's also a huge advantage of there of what worked last time with Denon, and I really do believe that it's going to be a good experience. Um, some of the people that I've seen apply and have read up, and I can verify that they're actually real people and not just spammers trying to collect a small monthly reward. They seem like they got some solid skills to bring to the table, and as long as there's organization, planning, and good communication, the sky's the limit for what you can do with those 3 things. You have to have honesty, integrity, open mindedness, willingness. The ability to plan the process and to see something through, and you can have a very, very far reach. Be encouraged. I think that it's going to be a great program, and it's still in a stage 2 where it's very open to suggestion for aspects of the ambassador program and the direction it'll take. But based on everything I'm seeing right now, this is a big deal to me. I really think that this is our chance to really expand our reach, and that is where you were hearing some of my concerns or frustration with, hey guys, this isn't a small deal here, man. This is a big deal. But it's a piece of the puzzle that's being put together right before our eyes, and be a part of it, be in the know.
and I try to make people zoom out a little bit when I go back to the individual that was freaking out in the Discord earlier. And I just say, like, they're like, oh my God, could this be a scam because the team's not responding to this? What I would say to stuff like that is, like, you don't need me to reassure you about the project. What you have to do is zoom out and what's been happening. Well, we've had a massive VUSD airdrop where a lot of people made a lot of money from that airdrop. Scams don't give away free money, right?
Nope.
We have these fantastic proposals, constant proposals, I'll add, right? It seems like I'm covering a new proposal every couple of days.
It's crazy.
Right?
Very active.
And it's always extremely beneficial. I have not seen this many beneficial proposals for the work in the community's favor as much as I have with this project. The VUSD airdrop, the ambassador program now, where the ambassadors are actually going to get paid. JASMY ambassadors don't get paid that I know of, right?
And with the AMAs too, they gave prizes away for good questions. You go in there, you ask a really, a good, thoughtful question. You get picked and you get a $500 reward. They're sending you $500. People, I've gotten the reward. I've been selected for it. I've received the money. Scams don't do that. Other people that won it, real people that are in there, they have won it and claimed their reward too, and publicly said, thank you, I received my reward. You know, there's the airdrop. Yes, I was a recipient of the airdrop. Big money, man. Made my month, dude. I was floating, bro. I was happier than hell.
I remember you told me.
Oh my God, it was a dream. So yeah, scammers don't do that. And you got to remember too, and I appreciate the fact of with from the Onyx team, and I say team because there is no team, it's community guys and people that have their roles. But if you don't know what to say, don't say anything at all. And I can respect for them not answering something in the moment, not just giving an answer to give an answer.
Yeah.
Take your time and form your words, form your thoughts, answer. And if maybe they don't know something and they have to come back and do things, or maybe it's a point that they didn't consider and now they got to go talk to each other, be like, hey, such and such, you brought something in there, made a good point. Let's talk about this. And that's why you see a couple of days later, things coming back, reflecting conversations that took place previously. And for me personally, it's a huge relief. It's like, damn, all right, man, they do listen. And they've shown that to me consistently. So I'm not worried. No one should be worried.
Yeah, that's also how misinformation gets spread too, is when somebody tries to give a best guess answer, and they end up being off the mark, and then it's just all hell breaks loose.
Exactly. And we have all different ages in crypto. Rob, we're probably more on the senior end of things. So there's all different degrees of maturity and experience too that come with it, different degrees of education, different exposure. So you're gonna find all different types of people. That some people are freaking out, screaming for lack of better words. The British are coming. Oh my God, hellfire, brimstone. All this is. You got other people that are like, whoa, man. They should take a second, take a pause, form their thoughts, and then answer. There's no rush to just quick fire from the hip something all the time. So I give the team a lot of credit. And the general sentiment in the chat, I feel, and I'm sure that you can chime in, is it's very good right now. It's a good climate. Onyx showed itself resilient to the unfortunate event of the exploit yet again. We've shown ourselves to be resilient. The market didn't really price in the downfall. We stayed relatively stable, and we learned from it, and we improve upon it.
Yeah, I heard somebody had asked me something about Pete. He's like, what was it? Something like, why are people leaving Onyx Coin and going to KASPA instead? I was like, I literally have not heard anything about that.
Me neither.
Perform that's like news to me. So I went and looked at the Onyx Coin chart and everything, and I was like, there's no dent in the price action at all. So I don't know where that came from. Maybe just read it somewhere on X or something and just was wondering. I don't know, but that's a nothing burger from what I've been able to.
And people say things under certain guises too to potentially sometimes even push their own agendas. So
they're not even competing projects. They're not the same thing at all, right? So it's apples and oranges 100%. We're talking about a layer 1 versus a layer 2. They don't even do the same things. I don't know. So
yeah, you got to take most of it with a grain of salt. I look for information and verified information. Before I take it into consideration.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm excited. I get a lot of community feedback from people. A lot of people thank me for introducing them to the project, and just like, I'm so excited about this project. Like, thank you so much. And it's a gem. It is. I'm happy I found it. I actually got turned on to it by, I got to give him credit. Dip Buyer Family actually told me he's got a channel, and he actually had mentioned it to me in a live stream once in the chat, I think it was. So I went out and started doing my research on it, and like 3 weeks later, I was doing videos on it after I'd done some research, and he's like, "Hey, I told you about that." So I got to give him his props on that, because he did mention it to me originally. So shout out to Dip Buyer Family.
XCN has some great advantages. I mean, the advantage of formally being chain and all the resources that were poured into chain, the time in the market and the implementation of the software like Onyx Core, we have a big advantage from other tokens that are really at the ground level as well. We're in the ground level as far as price, but the development and the time that's been put into this project is many years. So that's an anomaly within the market, to have such small exposure and price discovery and to have years of research and things inherited from the change of ownership from chain to Onyx. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm still here because I believe in it, and I believe that it's going to be a great decision in hindsight that I'm glad I made.
Got a shout out here to Ripple Effect asks, what do y'all think is the possible all-time high? I mean, right now the all-time high is, I believe, 18 cents.
18
And
cents. Yeah.
yeah, for me, I mean, because the project, I touched on it earlier, because the project did not, water down their circulating supply at a massive level in the bear market, I do think that this project is not going to have much trouble getting back to its all-time high. Uh, but I always, always, always have my exit strategies before the previous all-time highs of projects. I don't give a crap about price discovery mode. I want to
Sure.
get out when FOMO is still there, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
why I'm sure you're the same way. That's why I buy enough of the coin that I can do that and still walk away with life-changing money, right?
Exactly. Yep. I mean, 100x idea would be 12 cents. 12 cents. 18 cents would be roughly 1.5. 30 million, 300 million. I'm gonna put it out there as right around the $10 billion market cap.
Mhm.
If it were Solana, it would be. If it were Solana's cap, I think it would be over $1. Would be the all-time high. So it's hard to say. I mean, I'm throwing a ball at the wall here with that. I mean, I think it could take out its previous all-time high.
Yeah. Oh,
Do I
absolutely.
know if it will? Of course, I have no idea because it's the circulating supply has increased since the last time it was at that all-time high, but there's still not enough out there that would take that off the table or make it even hard to surpass.
Yeah, and being as low as it is right now, getting up to a $10 billion market cap, I mean, for me, I know from where we are right now, if you look at it, and you also have to take into consideration, again, recency bias, right? We've literally been dragging our feet through a bear market for the better part of 3 years, right?
Mhm.
So when you do that for 3 freaking years, it starts to become a little bit difficult to foresee a project that's got like a $40 million market cap making it to a $10 billion market cap.
Right.
But that's the whole point of where euphoria comes from in altcoin season, right? I mean,
Exactly.
it's going to run with the DeFi narrative when DeFi starts to go, and a lot of that money, even just temporarily, is going to flow through these micro caps, these small cap plays, as the liquidity works its way down the scale, right?
Exactly.
Um, So for me, I don't know, man. I don't think that $10 billion is in terms of a market cap is very high. I mean, we're talking about right now the projections for. I mean, some people think that the total market cap is going to be somewhere between 10 to 15 trillion, but if we get let's say 8 to 10 trillion dollar market cap, why is 10 billion? 10 billion's minuscule in comparison.
Right.
That's a tiny little amount of money coming into a project like this in comparison to the entire asset class, right?
Yeah. How many trillions of dollars they said is in circulating supply globally, but I believe it's even north of 100 trillion. I mean, so for that to happen and have it be an established asset class like it's turning into, in a safeguard against stock market downturns after coming off of all time highs in the stock market, the money's going to go to another asset class as that one downturns. So if they and these people are going to go to some people will be in larger, safer caps. Other people are going to say, the big money can be made by going into small caps, and it could just rip. I mean, if
Yep.
you take out all the sell orders that are present, I mean, you have open sky. It can go very, very high. I mean, I know that someone's at Ripple asked, about the all-time high. I can tell you if it ever goes back to the previous all-time high, I won't be talking you out of my wife's craft room here that you see. I will be on a yacht. I won't just be a millionaire. I mean, I would be on a yacht. My life would be changed. My grandkids' lives would be changed. That's how much money would be made. So, I mean, I hope it's as high as possible. I'm rooting for it. But you know, I keep buying enough and I have enough to where even if it goes into half of the all-time high, I'd be extremely well off and I'd be able to retire.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just, you know, I really don't hold a lot of weight to those type of questions. There's a lot more people that look at that stuff with a lot more seriousness than I do.
Well, I think that another mistake people make, and this isn't just like, you know, your regular investor, but also I see a lot of like TA people and stuff who run YouTube channels. They make the same mistake, is that they think that not a lot of people understand what market cap actually is.
Mhm.
They think it's the amount of money that's sitting in a project, right? And when they talk, you can almost tell when they're like, "Oh, the market cap can't get there. There's $10 billion in the project." It's like you can tell they kind of think that's what it means, right? And that's not what it means at all. You know, it doesn't mean that there's $10 billion sitting in Onyx coin right now,
Right.
right? And people are misled, I think, by that, by content creators who don't understand what market cap quite is themselves. And then yeah, it sets that narrative that it's like, oh yeah, well, I mean, there would have to be $10 billion sitting in there. No, there doesn't.
Yep, absolutely, man. So yeah,
So
we'll see what the market brings this cycle, but everything to me is within the range of normal. We have a 200 or so day move to the side in a range bound price movement for Bitcoin, and you know, once things rip, man, it's going to take a lot of people by surprise. It's going to happen very, very fast. We'll see crazy amount of emotion. You'll be talking your people off ledges left, right, and center, I'm sure. You know, and you know, I'll be trying to do the same thing in the Telegram chat for Onyx and stuff. But yeah, good things on the horizon, Rob.
yeah, I'm getting. I told you that I have been trying to accumulate my pith, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's such a strong oracle that it's going to do very well. But yeah, I'm gonna get back in and continue. I mean, I can't let you beat me, man, in terms of the size of Onyx coin bag, right? So I got to catch up. I know
Yeah,
you've
I
been.
have limited access to what I can buy in the U.S. You know, because I have to use Coinbase. I can't use all the other exchanges. I can't use Binance or Gate.io or anything like that. And other people have said, "Oh, well, there's different ways you could buy stuff." I'm just simple, dude. I got my ponies, you know, on Coinbase, and I'm happy with that. And you know, I don't want to mess around and make a mistake and lose my funds somewhere. So I'm just happy with the positions I'm in. But there's always an abundance of opportunity in markets, you know. So people have a real fear of not picking the right thing and missing out. And if you're level headed and you're looking, there's always abundance of opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, brother. All right, well, I'm gonna go have some more tea.
Feel
I'm
better, brother. And thank you
starting
so much for having me on the channel, Rob. I appreciate it. And I love coming on here. I look forward to talking with you. You know, someone else like minded that you know we could talk, you know, the project with. And thanks for keeping me on. And I look forward to being on the next time.
Hey, absolutely, man. Why don't we do it again next Sunday if you're free?
Let's do it. See, they hear it here first, man. Lock me in. Locked and loaded for Sunday evening.
There you go, guys. Same bad time, same bad channel. Next Sunday we'll be back.
Thanks for everything you do on this channel, man. Putting Onyx out there to the masses. It doesn't get overlooked by the right people in Telegram. We really value you. So just know that from me and representing other people in there that we would greatly appreciate what you do.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks, brother.
You got it.
All right, bro.
See you next week.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care.